Unless we write it, who will know? Who will tell the stories of our heritage? Today on Positively Black, we have the storytellers and a person who distributes books written by black authors. Good morning, I'm Julian Phillips. Our topic today is Inside Story, a black perspective. Joining us in our first segment are Gloria D. Dickerson, president of Moral Enterprises, a publishing and distribution company specializing in the promotion of African-American children's literature, and Nabil Haj, author and president of Dark Zulu Lies, a cartoon series targeted to African-American teens. Haj, Dark Zulu Lies, cartoons for black teens. Tell us about these.
I'm part of a national network of comic book publishers across the nation known as ANIA. We're the National Association of Independent Black Comic Book Publishers. We banded together to create strong black superheroes for our youth, to put them in the forefront. Typically, when I was growing up in the 70s, I would read a comic book and I would see a black character in there, and he would either be weak or he would be a sidekick of a white character. Well, think of what that did to my mind, and I think about what it is doing now to the minds of the children right now. That tells me, hey, I am always going to be relegated to the role of a sidekick in this society because I don't have role models. Well, ANIA, we have come out here to reverse that image, that stereotype. We have created strong male black superheroes and put them in their own comic book in the forefront so that a black kid can pick it up and say, hey, this guy is cool. And not only he's cool, he's smart. Every single one of our characters, to include Zwana, son of Zulu, Heru, son of Azar, Purge, and Ebony Warrior, these are all four separate heroes. They're all college educated. They did not learn the errors of their ways from the streets as the mainstream comics would have you believe all the time. They come out to help the community. They clean up the neighborhood. They beat up the crackheads, the skinheads. They try to promote positive Afrocentric values.
Well, let's talk about some of these characters here, like Heru. Doesn't it have a historical perspective of some sort? Tell us about him.
Most definitely. Heru is in a class all by itself. That particular book, Roger Barnes is the author. He's locally in New York with Afrocentric comic book. He is bringing to the foreground the Afrocentric aspect to African history as opposed to the Eurocentric aspect of African history. Take, for example, the name Heru. Yes. That is the original African name for that Greek god. Horus is the Greek interpretation of Heru that is taught in the schools today. See, we don't even know our own history. Well, Roger Barnes, he is basing his comic book off of books like Stolen Legacy, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, actual books that you cannot find anywhere else except in the African-American bookstores.
Now, we have one also, another, Purge. Who is Purge?
Purge is co-created by Roosevelt Pitt and Zach Upright with UP Comics in North Carolina. Purge is a college-educated man, a millionaire, a black man that built himself from his bootstraps in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That is where the story is based upon. Now, he is tired of seeing drugs and corruption in his city perpetrated against black people, whereas black people are not the ones that are bringing in the guns. We don't have any gun factories. We don't have any planes bringing cocaine or whatever in this city. Well, what he does is he built an arsenal of high-tech weaponry and equipment to go out and rid the city of corruption and crime in his neighborhood.
So what we have basically here are a series of strong black characters that our teens and children can look up to. But I got to ask you, how difficult was it to put out these comic books you have? I mean, I grew up on Marvel and DC Comics, Thor, Spider-Man, The Incredible Hulk, and then yet we have this now. What's the circulation like on these comic books?
We have sold to date, and this is since last month, 130,000 of the first two titles. The figures for the next of Zwana, son of Zulu, and Ebony Warrior, the figures for Purge and Heru have not come in yet. Now, the significance of this, within 1 month in April, ANIA became the 16th largest publisher of comic books in the world. I'm not just talking in the U.S. We grabbed a 0.23 market share. Now, why did we do that? As you mentioned, there's nothing like this on the market. When it went out there, people snapped it up.
Where can one find this comic book? Is it right on in the newsstands where
you can find it in
are?
Any comic specialty shop at this moment where they sell only comic books. right now. We're going into newsstand distribution in about August. So you can look in the Yellow Pages or in any place where they sell only comic books, and you can find them. And there's also an African-American distributor in New York, D&J, that carries our books as well. You can find them if you can't find them anywhere. Now, last I checked, the books were sold out across the country. But that should not stop anybody from going in the store and say, hey, do you have the ANIA books? If not, why not? And order them, please.
Sounds good. Gloria, I got to ask you a question. Children's books, how important is it for children, African-American children, to have books on their culture, their heritage, their history?
It's extremely important. We know that we help to improve our children's sense of self-worth by showing them not only books that have images of individuals who look like them. They are not white images painted black. They are, images of people who look like them at home, in their neighborhoods, at school, but also that they know from whence they've come. They know their history. They know and they hear it from the source. It's accurate. So it's important for us to not only have the past, our past history, but our contemporary everyday history portrayed properly. And that's done through our children's literature. And I am pleased to say I am so thankful that we are at a point now where we are getting that message out. Our children and our parents are seeing it.
I guess it's just one further example of reinforcing positive values at an early age. Where do you see yourselves going from here?
Well, the way how I look at it is right now we're in pre-production of these characters, film, animation. We have gotten a lot of offers for these particular characters because this is a historic, groundbreaking moment. Never in the history of comic books have African Americans come together from different areas of the world, not to do battle with one another, but to come together, match resources, pool together the knowledge that we have each, because I went to an African-American college, and so did another author. We have another author that has a master's degree. Come together and achieve without asking for a handout.
Well, that sounds good. Nabil, thank you for joining us in this first segment, and we'll be back with Gloria. And in the second segment, we will be with a man who wrote the book on Kwanzaa. Stay with us.